Hello and welcome to the Rebellious Noise Pro Wrestling channel. It's 5 a.m. here in the UK, but you wouldn't know it because I am buzzing after an incredible night one of WrestleMania 39. Stick with us and we're going to go right into it with a deep dive on our instant reaction.
Welcome to the Rebellious Noise Pro Wrestling channel. On this channel, we bring you some great content from inside and outside of the squared circle. We will go through and offer some in-depth analysis of the biggest events of the year, as well as bringing you exclusive interviews with some of the industry's biggest names. There will also be live show reviews, in-depth features, and podcasts. So make sure you give that subscribe button a slam so you don't miss any of the action.
All right, once again, welcome to the Rebellious Noise Pro Wrestling channel. My name is Scott, and I'm here to go through the instant reaction of WrestleMania 39. It won't just be me. We're going to be joined in a moment by another special guest, of course. And yeah, what an exciting night of wrestling it's been. Some would say predictable, of course, with that end result. But I guess that's only in hindsight, because there was a time where it looked like it might be the Usos walking away with those tag titles. But of course, we do have the victory of Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens. First time the two of them are picking up tag team gold in WWE. But it wasn't just that going on tonight. Of course, it was a huge night overall for WrestleMania, and a night where so many wrestlers impressed. I was very, very pleased with what I saw on the card tonight, and it only hype me up even more for tomorrow's events as well. But yeah, what we'll do, we'll go through the card, we'll go through the results and kind of talk about our thoughts and feelings. Send in your comments, guys. Let us know what you think of WrestleMania 39 so far. Slud Sports is here again. OMG, I need to go to sleep. I don't know where you're watching WrestleMania from in the world, buddy. But if you're like me, 5:04 a.m. in the morning, then I feel your pain. But hey, it's been a great night of wrestling action. It's been a great day. Of course, we started it out earlier on with NXT Stand and Deliver, and we've stood and delivered all day as far as content goes. And now we're talking WrestleMania as well. So yeah, stick with us, guys. We're going to go for it match by match. And yeah, it was a big night. Like we said earlier on, the card alone for night one could have been a WrestleMania card, just that one night. Yes, of course, we'll be missing a world title match and a Roman Reigns match. But other than that, I think it was a solid card either way. And of course, we are going to see those two things together tomorrow night. But let's break it down match by match, guys. Let's move on to the first match that happens here tonight. Before we do, guys, just want to say we are the Rebellious Noise Pro Wrestling channel. If you haven't joined us before, where you been? No, I'm joking. Thank you very much for joining us. Whether this is your first time or your 98th time, we really do appreciate you being with us today. We cover wrestling, of course, on this channel. Predictions, previews, build-ups, recaps, reviews, and interviews with WWE superstars is what you'll find here on this channel. So, guys, let us know what you thought of WrestleMania 39, and we'll kind of go through your comments throughout the night as well. Whether you're watching on demand or live with us at the moment, we'd love to hear what you thought of this event. And again, we'll be back tomorrow, of course, for night two. But it's all about night one today. And we're going to start by talking about, of course, the match that opens up WrestleMania, which was Austin Theory versus John Cena. Again, let us know in the comments, guys, what you thought of this match and of the night overall. All right, so Austin Theory, John Cena, a great start to the night. I saw a few people kind of moaning about this match online as if it didn't really deliver. I don't know what you're expecting, guys, but for me, it was exactly what it needed to be. We say that a lot on the channel, but of course it was. The Green Giant says, you guys going Money in the Bank? Yeah, we're looking to be there, mate. We'll be there, of course, doing loads of content throughout London as well. So yeah, if you're around, come and say hi, buddy. Bringing in our greatest luchador at the moment as well. We've got Rob, mate. How are you feeling, man? What a night of action.
Yeah, I mean, the build-up showed. I mean, we were saying earlier, the build-up show for us tires us out, and then we've got to sit through like 4 hours of wrestling, and it's almost 5:10 in the morning. So I'm good. Yeah. I'm just really, really tired.
Yeah, but considering though, mate, great night of action though, yeah?
It was so good. Night 1 delivered, and I'm thinking like night 2's got. Night 1 was that good. You know when you think, can they really do the same thing for
Man,
night 2?
I felt that about last year as well, and I think in the year before. And it's weird because about halfway through the event, I started to dip. I started to think, oh, it's good. But is it WrestleMania? Like, does it feel like WrestleMania? And
Yeah.
then it just kind of picked up in so many different places. Before you jumped on, mate, we're about to get into the first match. We'll kind of do brief kind of thoughts on this. We're not going to go super in depth, of course. This is our instant reaction to everything that took place at night 1 of WrestleMania 39. We're hoping to come back tomorrow. Well, we will be coming back tomorrow for night 2. And then after that, hoping to come back for a recap and review on this channel as well. But we'll go match by match just because it makes it a little bit easier to stay on top of things. Austin Theory versus John Cena. What did you think of this, mate, as an opener?
It was great. I think the thing that really, obviously, the match itself was good. But Cena's entrance was so good. They spoke about the Make-A-Wish and all that. Normally, he gets like these big, over the top entrances, like the car and or the hundreds of Cenas or whatever we get. But this time, it was literally just the Make-A-Wish children, and then Cena come out, high-fived them, and he said basically, "This is my team." And I thought, oh, what such a moment. Obviously, one for the Make-A-Wish people, but two for the amount of times that Cena's done the Make-A-Wish, and it's a big achievement, a big acknowledgement. I thought, what a wonderful way to kind of just showcase that.
Definitely, yeah. They've mentioned it over the years, but to do it on a grand stage like that, it was a real nice gesture and a real nice moment for Cena and for those kids.
Yeah, it was great.
We didn't get the Austin Theory. Look at that yawn, mate. You know it's 10 past 5 for us over here in the UK. We didn't get the Austin Theory mimicked John Cena entrance, but we did get a good match. What did you think about the match overall, mate?
Yeah, I see a lot of people kind of complaining about the finish, and I'm thinking, well, he's a heel. Like he's gonna do what he can to win. Exactly, he's done it in the past. Just because he's going against Cena, you think he's going to try and win clean.
If
anything, there's more of a chance for him to win dirty.
Exactly that. I think the idea was, he doesn't. It's not really putting him over, is it? If he had to cheat to win, but it's like you say, he's a heel, and he's a snide, dirty, cheating little heel. You know what I mean? Like that's the character Austin Theory's playing. I don't know what more people wanted from that. So yeah, I'm with you, man. But yeah, I did see a few kind of comments online, kind of not crapping on it, but just kind of somewhat underwhelmed, I think. But like again, what more did you want from this match? I thought it was good, and I thought for someone like Cena, who's been away for such a long time, he had that match at the end of 2022 to keep that streak alive, but he barely got involved, to be fair. Someone like that, considering the schedule he's got and kind of getting up there in his age, of course, that's not me trying to belittle the man. But I was really impressed with how well he performed and how sharp he was. It's not often people come back from that kind of hiatus when they get to this stage in their career and perform to the level that John Cena did tonight.
Yeah, that is very true. I mean, let's look at let's just take The Rock. Obviously, he's I guess the other guy that does Hollywood and all these TV shows and all that sort of stuff. The Rock said he needed he couldn't go against Roman because he needs to get himself in ring shape. And there's Cena going against Austin Theory.
You know what I mean?
And I'm thinking, so what do you mean by it? Obviously, I know physical shape and ring shape are two different things, but Cena can still go. So, so what's the Rock?
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, I guess Rock is older than Cena, but I get your point. I mean, it was 10 years ago that Rock had that match with Cena, a little bit more than that now, and he got injured. Then the one, 10 years ago is the one he got injured at, wasn't it? New York. And then he had that quick one with Eric Rowan. Look, mate, I don't want to diss The Rock. Love The Rock. But yeah, I get what you're saying there as far as kind of just appreciate what John Cena was able to do tonight, really. Come back. And I thought have a solid opener when it comes to starting this amazing weekend of WrestleMania coverage. Now, moving on to the next match. If I'm right in thinking, they went straight into the eight-man tag. What did we call it earlier? The show us what you got tag team specials. Crazy over the top rope, 10-man elimination Money in the Bank special, Hell in a Cell on top of a cage with cream on top and a pole. Anyway, it was a good match, and it was exactly what we said it would be, Rob. Like, impressive. And I'm going to get to this about Charlotte and Rhea later as well. But matches that, like, you could easily look at it as, not just us, plenty of people online. It looks like we're saying the match is the problem. The match was never the problem for me.
No.
It was the storyline behind it, and the fact that it didn't, mean anything. There was nothing on the line. Kind of meant I held back and I was a bit more reserved with this match. But I will say I still got massively invested because it was an incredible performance by all 8 of them.
Yeah, I mean, I think the biggest thing, a lot of at least for night one, a lot of the issue was where's the build for like what's happening. Like, why should we care about each match?
Yeah,
and a lot of the matches, annoyingly, majority of the women's matches are that. Why should we care? However, this match we was like, oh, well, what's it for? And then they're kind of speaking about could go on to face the tag titles, and I was thinking, well, why don't you just put that down?
Why don't you just say that? Yeah, exactly. They're hinting it all night. You know what I mean? It was just such a weird thing. But anyway,
though,
the match was incredible. I thought, like I said, all 8 of them oh, mate, it's definitely early in the morning. Look at me pressing on the wrong graphics and can barely use my tongue. All 8 of the wrestlers involved delivered. There we go. Struggling again. And I really enjoyed seeing Alpha Academy shine in this. It was, I mean, saying that as well, Braun Strowman, I mean, the shape that man is in is unbelievable. Unbelievable. Now, of course, the Street Profits won, and that's what we predicted. It just seemed like your typical kind of, well, they're kind of the most popular proper tag team, it felt like. But again, there were times throughout the match where I started to believe anyone could win it.
Yeah, that's exactly. I mean, other than us doing it, we done the predictions, and during the match, I was thinking, I shouldn't have gone with Street Profits because they've not really been in a match. And I'm thinking, does that mean that they're going to get the win at the end because they've not been in a match? Like, and I was second guessing. I was like, anyone could have won it, and then certain things happened, and I mean, even just the finish alone, like with the shooting star press and then rolling Ricochet in, and oh, bro, it was just so good. The finish was wonderful, but each person got a time to showcase what happened. The only person I feel like was a little bit lackluster, didn't get enough time to show what they've done, was Otis.
Yeah, like weirdly enough. Yeah, weirdly enough, when he's got such a big character-based role, and it's been a big part of the storyline, of course, with Alpha Academy and the whole Otis thing. I really did think we were going to get something to do with that. We didn't. That was a disappointment. It felt like the one missing element out of this match, didn't it?
Yeah, that was the only thing. But I said every guy, just delivered on the night. There was like, well, it literally felt like Triple H said, "Go out there, have fun, and then if you make everyone stand on their feet, I'll double your pay." Because I'm saying that's what it felt like. I mean, Strowman was just running everywhere. Everyone was just a human pinball, and they were just darting around the ring. I think it's so crazy, and it's such a busy match, but I enjoyed it. Like I said, we so underestimated what they could do, and then they really showed. I'm thinking, and this is why things like the tag titles should be main eventing at times, because look at the guys you've got doing this stuff. Like, stop downplaying what certain titles are just because there's not an individual. Bro, all these guys could do it. So,
it was definitely, like you said, it was a great advertisement for the tag division. As much as we were frustrated in the build that it didn't seem to make sense, and it's going to be the same tomorrow with a women's version of this as well. And they're going to have a tough act to follow. And it's let's hope this does lead towards something important for the tag division. Of course, we'll get to what the titles are doing later on in this stream as well. But after this, of course, we moved on to Seth freaking Rollins taking on Logan Paul. Now, again, we keep saying on the streams, mate, that whether you like him or you don't like him as an influencer, as a person, you cannot deny the talent of Logan Paul. Not only the talent in ring, but I'd say the entertainment factor. He brought it tonight with what turned out to be KSI in a prime bottle, which look, again, if you're not into like YouTube, if you're not into this social media using celebrities, fair enough. But you have to appreciate what a moment that is for WWE globally on, you know, a viral scale. You know, it's unbelievable that they managed to get. And you look at the face of KSI when he's unveiled. This is the guy having fun, just like Logan Paul. These people want to be involved. So it is a win-win situation. Bad Bunny, Logan Paul, Pat McAfee, KSI now. They're onto a winning formula, man.
Yeah, definitely.
Especially these people that are actually good in ring. And obviously we haven't seen KSI wrestle, but I reckon he might be all right.
I tell you what, though, he can take a bloody a crossbody.
Yeah,
for
exactly.
a table as well. It's
even that. I think he was supposed to be. Do you remember that spot with Roman where he was filming on his phone? Logan Paul?
Yeah.
I think surely we're supposed to get a clip out of KSI, but nothing's come out of it. So maybe KSI in the moment didn't press record or something like that, or whatever else. But even still, the moment from WWE's cameras looked fantastic. You could kind of see what was coming. Don't get me wrong, but man, absolutely incredible moment there. And look, this is we talked about in the build-up, and sorry, even the prediction show. Is Seth Rollins gonna wanna be involved in this match? You know what? Judging by the clicks and the talk and the buzz around the internet, if I was Seth Rollins, I'd be very happy right now.
So, obviously, I think that this is so in our group chat, famous group chat. So basically, we throw ideas in of what we could do for videos and all that. Basically, I put an idea in, and we all kind of discussed that it could be a potential video idea. Who comes under this umbrella, or who gets the title of Mr. WrestleMania? Bro, I said Seth Rollins before this match happened over the past few years, and literally the match that he done with Logan Paul tonight, there's got to be Seth is definitely got to be the king of WrestleMania right now. Like,
you think? I mean, at the moment, current roster, yeah, without a doubt.
It comes to Mania, and Seth's brain just goes to 1,000. Do you know what I mean? Like, even like the curve something to the RKO, the highest of the century, which I know that's not his booking, but everything he's done, he has done well.
Yeah. That match against Kevin Owens a few years ago was fantastic.
Exactly.
Even the one in the PC. Yeah, he's been incredible the past few years, and like I say, especially on that stage. Good. What did you think of the entrance? We did imagine it might be a choir or something like that. They did go for a musical theme. I didn't think that it worked that well, if I'm honest. I think I like the idea. Execution was a bit awkward because obviously the audience want to sing along to a certain beat, and obviously at the same time, the guy doing the audio, the fancy pants, hands in the air, the composer, the conductor, I should say, was probably doing it legitimately. Don't get me wrong, but it didn't seem to mesh that well.
Yeah, until the music started over the top.
Yeah,
fans were then they got lost in the shuffle. That's why I was saying if they had a crowd,
a choir,
chorus of people, a choir, and just doing that chorus bit, then I think it would have led easier because you could have split the choir in half, and done this side. I like the idea, but when he put them together and the song comes out, it was great.
It was, definitely. Yeah,
that was really good.
It was cool. He looked like tell me if I'm on the right track here. He looked like a sweet from a tin of roses, Seth Rollins.
It did look like a strawberry, strawberry cream.
Exactly, that's what we were saying as well. It looked like that. Get me hungry, mate. But yeah, Logan Paul's entrance we saw earlier on. Rumors of that as well, being on those wires. Didn't realize it was basically going to be the Shawn Michaels WrestleMania entrance. What did you think of that?
So I see him go up, and I was thinking, okay, he goes up, and then he's gonna it was in one area they were practicing it, and they were just gonna drop him down. I didn't realize they were gonna send him up, then shoot him down like Shawn Michaels. So that was a nice little chat. I think the problem was no one cared about it.
Yeah,
because it's tough. Logan,
and because he's actually and I think they should be playing into his heel kind of tendencies. But I noticed as well when he was on the top rope and he was like, "Yeah, come on," and it's like, "No, you're a bad guy now." It's that kind of thing. Like when Jericho and people like that don't do any high fly moves. When Pac, turned into the kind of I ain't doing any of those moves.
Mate. Do that.
Yeah, it's that kind of not to that extreme, but it's kind of reminiscent of that in the sense of. Maybe as a heel, you don't start amping the crowd up for your springboard. You know what I mean? It's it's a big moment. It's one thing to do it when you're a babyface, but that's something that he's kind of getting used to. This is the first match really that he's been a full blown heel, to be fair. So it's all new to him, and I thought he performed very well tonight. I thought it was a very good match.
Yeah, it was great. Is Logan now? Surely he's got to be at the top of the list for like celebrity wrestler. He has to be at the top, right?
Oh yeah, he's got to be. I mean, as much as I think Pat is great and Bad Bunny is great, Logan is doing it more frequently, and it's given us a lot of performances to judge him on, and all of them have been very good.
Yeah, I mean, he hasn't missed a beat when he's been in the ring. Obviously, there's been a few errors at Royal Rumble with him and Ricochet. Literally, at the moment, Logan is creating highlights. Just the splash on Roman, that's the crossbody with Ricochet, the splash today on KSI. Obviously, it missed, but bro, he's doing a lot. He's making noise, and the thing is, he's got such a star power. And as you said, bringing in KSI, a UK star power, Money in the Bank's happening. Good luck with being Money in the Bank.
Good point.
Like, it's going to be in the UK, so I think they're kind of
that's great.
Stacking, what do you want to put it? Stacking ammo, like WWE is, like they're getting their stuff ready because they know where it's going to be fired and what needs to happen. So
that's a great point. I never actually thought of that. That's a really good point. We could be seeing KSI and Logan Paul together even over here in a match. Speaking of which, we do have a match that I think is on its way to being set up for the next PLE that is outside of the US, and we'll get to that in a moment. But let's move on to the next one on the card, which was Trish Stratus, Lita, and Becky Lynch defeating Damage Control here. Now, we all went for Damage Control, I think, out of optimism that someday Damage Control are going to be booked to look good. Didn't quite happen, but it doesn't mean I hated the decision or the match. I did really enjoy it. I think they delivered, and especially Trish and Lita, at a stage in their career where I was looking at them like 3/4 into the match thinking, how are you not like blowing up in a moment? Like, how are you still going with these younger wrestlers, and from a generation different to yours, when they were great in their generation, don't get me wrong, they stood out in their generation, but the crop of talent we've got today is completely different. It's miles ahead of what they were dealing with, and that was 15-20 years ago, Rob. So for the fact that they kept up, so yes, you could say it's a tag match, gives you a little bit of a breather, as we talked about with John Cena earlier on at the end of the last year as well, but still I was very impressed with the performance of the legends in this one.
Yeah, like, the match itself was all right. I don't know. I enjoyed it, but I couldn't get into it, man. I think
is it that holding back of like, what is this for again? Like we've been talking about all week. It just
felt messy. Like, I enjoyed the match itself. Overall, the match was great, but I was just like, well, what's it for? Like, where did we go from here? Okay, so Becky, Lita, and Trish win. So what?
Nice moment for them. Nice moment for them as wrestlers. And if you would have I was thinking when we were watching it, man, like if you would have told me a year ago, 9 months ago, that we were going to see this match with these people involved, I'd bite off your hand. Do you know what I mean? Because you think two Hall of Fame legends against Becky Lynch, one of the greatest of all time of the current generation. Bayley, who at the time we were like, needs to come back, needs a big spot. And you tell me then she's got a stable with two of the hottest prospects from NXT. I'd be like, man, this is going to be amazing. And it was a good match. But like, as we've said all week, the build towards it has not been deserving kind of the match caliber on paper. You know what I mean? So a little bit disappointing there, but I do think they perform quite well. It doesn't seem like it's going to lead to anything on night 2 with a Trish heel turn or a tag team title match or anything like that. But for what it was, decent, I felt.
Yeah, it done the job it was supposed to do, but it's done now. Can we actually focus on the women's tag titles, because that's what the importance is? Like,
exactly that. I mean, it's still a chance that Trish will turn or something like that in the future, but we'll have to see with regards to Trish kind of awkwardly hanging out as a third wheel with Becky Lynch and Lita. Now let's move on to one of my absolute highlights of the night, mate. Rey Mysterio versus Dominic Mysterio, a match that I was very excited for leading into WrestleMania. match that I hoped someday would be a WrestleMania match. And for me, man, absolutely delivered. Of course, on the same weekend that Rey is inducted into the Hall of Fame. If you haven't seen it already, guys, Rob did a fantastic video breakdown of Rey Mysterio's career on this channel. So if you get a chance after the stream, whether you're watching live or on demand, we'd appreciate if you went and checked that out as well, going into detail on Rey's career. And something that he did cover, of course, was his look and presentation. And my goodness, mate, did both Mysterios have a fantastic look and presentation. First of all, we get Dominic Mysterio. The only downfall or kind of caveat I'd have to this is like the whole joke was Dominic was inside for like 15 minutes, but he acts and pretends like he was inside for about 6 years. And he wasn't, but they brought him out as if, he was handcuffed. But the way that promo video was shot, mate, unbelievable. And then he's in the cuffs, and he comes out and he lifts up that hood, and he's got a proper old school Rey Mysterio type mask on. Matches with the colors he's got on. Purple, of course, reminiscent of Halloween Havoc, but also in keeping with Judgment Day colors as well. So it was a nice little mix there. And also continue with his gear as well. His Mysterio patterns, but also very Eddie Guerrero-like theme going on as well, with the writing on his backside and those jaggedy, sharp kind of lines along his legs as well that do match up with the Mysterio. What is it, like an eagle that comes across on Rey's mask as well? But looked absolutely fantastic, Dominic, and he looked like a flipping star, mate. I thought he looked amazing. And just when I thought he couldn't get better, Rey Mysterio comes out with Snoop Dogg playing a classic from Snoop Dogg's discography as well, in a lowrider. And then I didn't even clock at the time that, oh my goodness, he's in a lowrider in LA. And all of a sudden, mate, boom, Viva La Raza hits. Rey Mysterio really hypes up the Eddie Guerrero tribute. And then after that, we get Booyaka 619. A fantastic medley there from Rey Mysterio. What did you think of these two entrances, mate? Before the match, I think the entrances alone are incredible.
So Storms was fantastic, playing into him being inside and stuff like that. It was a nice touch. Obviously, they're still playing on it. His attire was, the minute I see that the purple, I was like, okay, obviously we know Judgment is purple. And then the minute you get a proper glimpse, I was like, Halloween Havoc, literally. And the thing is as well, Seth done a version when he was doing to Rey, but it was so Rey's one was proper purple, and then they had the black. Instead, this time it was like reversed. It was black with the purple, and I was like, it's like an inverted Phantom to what Rey done. Such a nice little touch. So that was great. And then Rey's come out. I thought, oh, that's the low rider and all that. The only thing though, I think I got myself too excited for something, because you say you jump out of the car and then kind of walk towards the stage, and I was like, oh, is he going to go up and inject himself up to that bit, and then Boyak is going to start? Because literally all you need is the echo noise, and then who's that jumping out the sky,
and then into Boyak.
And I was like, oh, that's what we're going to get. And then he's on the ramp, and I was like, oh, we're not getting it.
Yeah, it was the only thing missing, wasn't it? Like, as far as like a incredible medley of like Rey Mysterio and kind of Mexican American and Eddie Guerrero and all this kind of stuff. Like, it would have been cool, but it would have been the
greatest hits all thrown into
one. It would have been the cherry on top of the icing on the cake, but we got pretty much the cake in the icing, so we should be happy with that.
Man, it was
let's get to the match though, man. What did you think of the match?
It done what it needed to do. And you know what? I love the fact that it wasn't just a lucha match, because you could so easily go into what they know best and what the specialty is. Obviously, both of them being luchas. Rey trained in that his entire life. I'm assuming Dominic's been around that his entire life, knowing a lucha libre kind of style. But the fact that Rey obviously came over and all the lucha libre stuff and turned it into more cruiserweight stuff, and then you kind of had a mix of American professional wrestling, lucha wrestling. And between them, they kind of meshed that and made that what it is now. So they done that style instead of just generic lucha libre. I'm glad they did, because we got a little bit of what we wanted, a little bit of what they do, their heritage and all that sort of stuff, just kind of combined. But even that, the story that told, with Rey getting him into the turnbuckle and whipping him, and then Dom throwing the drink at his sister, like shading
Yeah,
it. Surely
yeah.
that's got to be a thing to MJF, right?
Do you think?
I don't know. It felt like it because the way it was done, and I was like, well, this is how if you're gonna do it, this is how you do it properly. Because it was on. It was. Do you know what I mean? It felt like a cheeky little nudge to we
Okay.
do that too, kind of.
Yeah,
I might be
yeah.
wrong, but and then Dom getting slapped, I was like, oh, it's just the whole storytelling in this. It's not just Ray and Dom; it's the family, and the fact that there is included. You know, and that was before Judgment Day come out.
Yeah. Well, then, like you say, Judgment Day come out, and at the end of it, of course, when the match is over, husband and wife and daughter celebrating in the ring, which was really nice. But yeah, going back to the Judgment Day, of course, we wondered if this was going to be part of the match and stuff like that, and it was. I think it was well played the way they did it. Bad Bunny at ringside, of course, on commentary as well. Basically, honorably stopping Damian Priest from getting involved and costing Rey Mysterio, and it kind of sows the seeds, I think, for Puerto Rico Backlash, which annoyingly Cole called it WrestleMania Backlash tonight, or it might have been Graves, either one. Someone called it WrestleMania Backlash, and my skin crawled inside itself. Which I thought they were done with that, but maybe it was a slip of the tongue. We'll see. But basically, it looks like we might be getting Rey Mysterio and Bad Bunny versus Dominic Mysterio and Damian Priest. And I'd so be up for that. I thought Damian Priest, despite not having a match on this show, had to come out of it, WrestleMania as a weekend, really, somewhat looking good, leading towards an important role in Puerto Rico. You cannot do a PLE there without utilizing Damian Priest, because we knew that Bad Bunny was going to be on the show, and of course him having a match would make sense, and I think surely this is where we're going.
Yeah, it makes sense. I think my only concern is they've got Damian. So if they go the way that I think they're going to do, I'm either concerned that they're going to use the LWO because
they got involved as well.
They come out, which I don't mind. I'm all for that. But my concern is we're going to get Edge versus Balor.
Yeah.
And then even though that's basically the end of the feud, we hope. But my concern is that the guys at Puerto Rico, are they going to basically just do a 4-on-4 and have Edge, Balor, Rhea, and Dom versus Ray, Edge, Bad Bunny?
I don't think that would be awful. But you're right. It should be the end of Edge's part of the feud with Balor.
It just feels like that's what they're going to go with as an easy option. So it's not too much on everyone. But
maybe. I reckon it's more likely to be the tag, to be honest. But I could see what you're saying, and I understand why that would be a bit frustrating, especially with Edge and Balor. Hopefully, as much as we love both those guys, and the feud has been good in spells, and it got dragged out every now and then, it needs to be over. So yeah, I know what you're saying. Like, this match should have happened. If you're gonna multi-person it, should have been before Hell in a Cell. So Hell in a Cell needs
should have been before Mania.
Yeah, exactly that. Well, we'll be back talking about that tomorrow night. But as you just said, Rob, you called it tonight because, of course, it's 5:35 in the morning here in the UK. But we will be back later on tonight. I don't want to call it that. I'm going to call it tomorrow. It's tomorrow until I go to bed. We'll be back for the build-up show, talking all things WrestleMania Night 2. So stick with us, guys. We're going to be on this channel hyping yourself and ourselves up. Thank you to everyone that joined us for the build-up show earlier tonight, by the way. We really enjoyed everybody's comments as well. But let us know what you thought of WrestleMania, guys. Did you enjoy it? What was your match of the night? What was your moment of the night? We'd be interested to hear, whether it's live or on demand. We love hearing your comments and thoughts on the event. Let's move into the next one, mate. Bringing back up the card here. And it was Rhea Ripley versus Charlotte Flair. And I'm shocked by that, because after this, we have a lot going on before the main event comes on. But Rhea Ripley versus Charlotte Flair, talk all week about how it shouldn't main event. And as I can only reiterate this for the 7,000th time, it was nothing to do with Charlotte, nothing to do with Rhea, nothing to do with the women's division, nothing to do with the caliber of this matchup in ring-wise. It was all to do with the storyline not being what it should have been. And man, we wanted them to go in with a chip on their shoulder, which I think partly to them, I was worried might be misplaced on the fans. The fans, in my opinion, aren't the issue here. It was, we kind of also agree you're great, but it just wasn't built that way. It was that they weren't built that way. So the chip on their shoulder should have been directed towards those kind of making the storylines or the plans, booking things, however you want to call it. And no matter who that chip was dedicated towards or inspired by, mate, they delivered. Charlotte especially looked, trying to hold my language back, but she seemed a little bit peeved when she was on her way to the ring.
Yeah.
And man, I felt like they had something to prove, and it was an incredible match.
It was great. It was so good. And I think this is what we were talking about. It's like, annoyingly, you've made us not want to care about women's wrestling at the most prestigious show of wrestling in the world, you know.
Yeah.
And by doing that, we're going in underthinking and thinking, oh, I'm not gonna like it. We're judging the match too quick because of the way it's been built.
Yeah.
And then they show us exactly why we were boasting at Royal Rumble why women's wrestling is so damn good.
Yeah.
And
why they deserved the build.
Why they
should
be why they should be main eventing.
Yeah.
They showed us that reason. And I'm thinking, for crying out loud, how can you now go out and allow them to do a match like that after you haven't booked them for a match like that? Like it's like they're throwing it in their faces, like, oh, go out and put on the match and put on a 5-star match. However, your build up is going to be nothing, so no one's going to care. So on the night, you're going to have to make people want to watch it even more.
Why to win them over. Yeah.
Oh, it's so annoying because that was such a good match. And do you know what? If that had main evented, I would not have been angry. I would not have been irritated.
No. It was, I don't want to say a better match, but they were equal in my opinion as far as how good they both were. They were absolutely equal. I mean, we argued all week. The point with the tag title going last was the storyline and the emotion.
That's the only thing. But if they'd have switched it and done the tag titles before this, I would have been like, okay, fine. But the match delivered well enough to be able to do that.
Yeah.
But I mean, thankfully they did go with the tag titles. Obviously, we'll get into that. But man, this match was so good. I mean, just think every single match had to top the last one on this show. You know, just firstly, obviously, Cena Theory was a slower one. It started off well, but it wasn't the greatest kickoff kind of match. It was good. And then after that, we kind of hit this rocket of the tag title match. Then Seth, you know, and I felt like the women's tag match slowed the rocket down a bit. And then it just took off again. You know, we had about 3 or 4 matches that were just so damn quick. And I was like, damn, like, this is so good. And the fact that, you know, this went on and then we kind of had that little bit after. I was like, I feel like they had to settle the crowd down again. Because, you know, I don't think you can get them off their feet. I reckon they had to slow them down. But it was so good. I believe we got technical difficulties and Scott's gone. So he'll randomly pop back in a minute. But if you are watching, obviously live or on demand, tell us what you thought of the show. If you enjoyed it, what was your favourite match was? Do you think that everyone judged Rhea and Charlotte's match before it happened because of WWE's booking? Or is that us as fans making that decision? Tell us what you think, kind of thing. You know, because it doesn't seem obviously it's their fault. Obviously it definitely isn't. And I think it's definitely not the fans' fault for kind of criticizing and moaning about it. I think it's just the way it's been booked. As we were saying, if you didn't join us on the build up or at all throughout the last week, we've got loads of content that's come out. But one of the main talking points was which match should be like main eventing. And the reason we were talking about it was because the Usos and Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens had a bigger storyline, whereas Charlotte and Rhea haven't. It's just the storyline hasn't been there, even though we were discussing that the Royal Rumble winner should main event. So it's just mind-boggling of how they can do that. But I mean, as I said, we underplayed the match thinking because they just didn't care about doing a booking for it. And then when we got to see that match, it delivered more than I think anyone expected.
Yeah, I think the only things to me that were like those 2 close calls where Charlotte could have landed on her head. I mean, she kind of did on one of them where her nose got cut and stuff like that. But I other than that, like, it was just a fantastic performance between the two of them. And you get this often. I remember Sasha Banks doing this on the outside, kind of giggling and just excited, even though she'd lost at just a moment watching it on the screens. And Charlotte did the same thing tonight, and the cameras picked it up, maybe a bit too much. But Charlotte is supposed to be a babyface at the moment, but Rhea isn't. So it's a bit confusing in that sense. But Charlotte did look like someone at the end of that match that thought, yeah, man, like, we did what we needed to do. Do you know what I mean? And it was a fantastic moment. Of course, the story, to be fair, does trace back to a few years ago. I just don't think they kind of told that story as well as they could have on TV. But yeah,
I was going to say, does this now? Can I now start making a joke about? We understand why Charlotte won the title match.
It's not that far back, mate.
Yeah,
it's not NXT in your house confusion, but there we
go. It feels like this was the payoff, though, because
yeah, if you say so.
Ripley finally got the title.
Yeah, so I guess so. Maybe.
I mean, I'll continue to make the joke because it's great. But
you could be right. You could be right. Of course, yeah, Triple H a few years ago when there was a confusing end to In Your House, basically it was like, it all makes sense in the end. Basically, a lot of lines of that. And since then, we've been like, what? So maybe this is what they were talking about. Yeah, but either way, a fantastic match between Charlotte Flair and Rhea Ripley. And of course, now a new SmackDown Women's Champion. It'd be interesting to see where we go from here. And of course, as we said a few times this week, man, like, it would be great to see what that looks like, a title in that stable on Rhea Ripley rather than on any of the men. So, man, I'm really looking forward to see what that actually means. Now, I would bring up the lineup next, but of course, we don't actually stick to it from this point. We kind of go all over the place by The Miz coming out with Snoop Dogg and claiming that he's put out a challenge on there on all these social media websites, one of those being MySpace, which I got a little kick out of. And then basically, Pat McAfee shows up, of course, with Thingy being absolutely thrilled. Michael Cole thrilled, which I find quite ironic, really, because he loved The Miz before. So now he's coming out, he's cheering someone here to beat up The Miz. But yeah, I thought it was really cool, man. Like, I really enjoyed seeing Pat McAfee back. I enjoyed Miz getting a moment. It didn't feel like a real match. It was kind of quick. It was throwaway. It was funny with Snoop Dogg. In some ways, part of me thinks, how can you just show up and get these random kind of thrown together things? And my biggest complaint about this is that it should have been earlier in the night.
Yeah, it should have been. The thing is, at what point? Because as I was saying, like, after the whole, it felt like the whole show had two moments where literally it dipped, and one of them was the six-woman tag match, because it was a lot slower. It was a great fast-paced match. It was really, really good, but it kind of dipped a little bit for me because the matches before were so good, and obviously they had to follow Seth, so following something like a big moment like that isn't going to be easy. And then after that, you get Charlotte Flair and Ripley, which was another amazing match on the night. Was so good, and they delivered. And you think, well, we now need to bring the crowd down before we give them the main event.
Maybe,
it just felt like it was a way to just drag them down.
Yeah,
and calm.
That is a good point.
But I wasn't fussed with this at all. Like, I was like, I get the moment, it was great, and I was like, but you know what? I don't care. I would have rather had a segment of LA Knight come out and just.
I was wondering if that's what we were going to get. So it looks like a night two, because we've been talking about again all week about LA Knight potentially getting a moment here at WrestleMania, and we'll talk about that more on the build-up show for night two, because clearly night one wasn't to be for LA Knight. So we'll see how that goes. But it was a bit of a confusing one.
We could have had that. Bobby Lashley could have come out and just hit him with something like that, and then
that's what I thought.
It didn't even need to be anything spectacular, just something like that. And the thing is, Pat McAfee, he's great. He's nice on commentary. He brings a lot of excitement and a lot of fire. But what annoys me is there's guys that are trying to get on this WrestleMania card. Something happened and they got pulled out. There's names that aren't on it. That I'm thinking, why is Bobby Lashley not on the WrestleMania card? Obviously, with the Bray stuff, it hasn't happened. Why is LA Knight not on the WrestleMania card?
Yeah.
Like, these are the guys that you're building and you're pushing. And, Bobby won the Andre Battle Royal thing. Great. LA Knight got thrown over, and all of a sudden they were met with boos. So, So
That's it. They got to
he's
fix it on
loved
night
it.
2. They got to do something to do
So
both those on night 2.
I'm just
Um,
it just annoys me. Like, you got them guys that scratch and claw their way. I mean, LA Knight's 40, so I don't know how many more times he's
opportunities
going to get an opportunity to get a
Yeah.
WrestleMania moment. So him,
Well, we're talking to Andy earlier on. Of course, that is live there at the moment. And when he was texting me about SmackDown the other night, he was saying that, or last night, I can losing track of the days now, but he was basically saying that, like, he feels like this is the next kind of chant. Like every year there's that kind of Fandango, the Yes movement, Rusev Day, things like that. At the moment, the fans there are making LA Knight. It's come at a perfect time, so they'd be mad not to capitalize on it. And like you say, because of his age as well, it's kind of a not now or never, but like this is a good opportunity. So let's hope they do something with him tomorrow night. I will say though, I'm glad to see Miz getting a role. It's someone that's a great company to go. I've said it over the years, to be thrown into these kind of working with Bad Bunny, working with Pat McAfee, working with Logan Paul as well. He's been such a fantastic asset to the company, and I thought he played his role well. So like he could easily be one of those people annoyed that he's not involved in a proper match. Like don't get me wrong, at least he got a match tonight, but he could easily kind of kick up a fuss, I think. So fair play to Miz. I think he's done incredible the past few years to be kind of slotting in wherever they can use him. Right, and then after this, it looks like we're going to get a full musical performance from Lil Uzi Vert, and thankfully it's not. And that's not me being harsh against him as a performer, but basically at this time of the night, we don't need a musician coming out playing for about 5 to 7 minutes. But instead, what we got was about a minute leading into the intro for the Usos, which I did think was quite cool, actually. And then after this, of course, the fans going wild for Kevin Owens, and of course, then the chorus singing along with Sami Zayn as well. Of course, we're talking about the main event, the tag team titles between the Usos, Sami Zayn, and Kevin Owens. Now, I love this match, man. I do feel like it says a lot about so much and so many things in WWE's history. There's so many lovely stories here. We talked about before the title reign that the Usos have had. Then also Sami Zayn's incredible story with the Bloodline. Then on top of that, Sami Zayn and KO's incredible history as well. Then on top of that, the Usos kind of solidifying themselves as, I don't know, man, maybe the greatest tag team of all time. I'm kind of putting it out there.
I was about to say, like, that's got to be in the conversation now.
It's got to be. It's got to be like. And then also like how they used to be, and not just them, but the tag titles as well, used to like barely get a sniff on the kickoff show, and now they are main event. Don't get me wrong, it's a 2-night show. You can it's a bit easier now. There's 2 main events, but still, man, like prominent role, main event, and well deserving as well. From every single aspect of this. Again, Jey Uso's role within the Bloodline when Jimmy was gone, like Jimmy and Jey just kind of reinventing themselves around 2015, I think it might have been now, when they become this kind of day one version of themselves as well. Like there are so many stories here.
Went ill at that point, didn't they? They
yeah.
But yeah, no, you're right. I mean, a lot of people are going to be like, oh no, they're still not in this the name and all this sort of stuff. But look, we've had Edge and Christian, the Hardys, the Dudleys. I don't know, like let's just go back through the history of tag teams, right? There's been so many good ones, the Road Warriors, just to name a few. And everyone says, the greatest tag team is this team, it's this team, it's this team. Now, the Usos may not have held other titles in other promotions, WCW, ECW, AEW, or whatever, right? And they've only been WWE guys. Obviously, maybe Booker T's kind of promotion, all that sort of stuff. But how, if anyone says that the Usos now are not even in the conversation for the greatest tag team of all time in wrestling, will blow my mind, because not only that, but as you said, they've done so much now, and they've made them titles so damn prestigious. There'll be such a shame if it now dropped down to the card after KO and Zayn, I guess, lose it or whatever. But man, the story just being told just about who they are. The 2 brothers are going against 2 friends that are like brothers, like blood brothers kind of thing. If we get that story, then everything else has been thrown in with the Bloodline, with KO, with Sami, with Jay and Sami, and KO and versus the Usos in the Bloodline.
Yeah.
Like, there's just so much going on. And then the legacy that the Usos have made with the titles, it really reminded me of. Do you remember when that New Day and Usos went against each other in Hell in a Cell? And I was like, we're going out there and we're going to prove why tag team wrestling is so important.
Yeah.
And tonight we got to see that exact same thing, not once but twice. The first time in the showcase, and then this was like the cherry on top of like, I did swore then, but I was like, this is why tag team wrestling is so important.
Yeah.
And I was like, man, it was incredible, so good.
Yeah, and again, like we said as well, like having Sami and KO, the story between them two as well, you know, kind of growing up in the indies together, and you know, the rivalry and friendships of how we're in WWE as well intertwined, and it's all worked out so well. The only downer for me was watching Sami Zayn walk out on that ramp, and in my head, part of me went, it should be in a main event. This should be for the world title. Like, that's the only thing for me that look, in my opinion, it was always supposed to be this, and this is great, but it got bigger than I ever expected. And there was a time where Sami Zayn could have been the Undisputed World Heavyweight Universal Champion, whatever they're calling it these days, you know? So
it's crazy.
That's the only kind of thing to me.
It's really crazy because, I mean, I feel like this, again, is shades of, as we were talking on the build-up, it's shades of that weird time where only certain people could get that push because of story. Kofi, Daniel Bryan, and now Sami Zayn. Like, it could have been for that title over at least the modern era. But if someone else had won it, Sami could have taken that top spot, and I think it would have been fine. But because it's Cody,
yeah,
I don't know. They kind of put themselves into the corner of having.
Yeah, I mean, we got two incredible stories going on at once. That's the problem, I guess. You know, two very worthy stories. You know, this one still plays into that as well. Like, is this the beginning of the end? Beginning of the downfall of the Bloodline? You know, I've always thought for the last 6 or 12 months, like, what happens when the Usos lose first? Because I always thought the Usos would lose them first. Does Roman start kind of getting annoyed at them and saying, look, you're letting the side down? But now it's too close. It's all at WrestleMania. We haven't got a whole build to the next PLE where Roman can kind of like say, look, what's going on with you guys? You need to prove yourself. Like, we're straight up into it tomorrow. So it's going to be interesting to see how that plays out. And again, the whole stuff with Solo, the whole stuff with Jay kind of, deciding, taking a long time to decide if he was still with the Bloodline. Jay being hesitant all the time with Sami Zayn, but then originally with Roman Reigns as well. There's still so many directions we can go in with this Bloodline feud, and I'm just really excited about it. But the match overall, man, fantastic. Exactly what I expected it would be. A million near falls, a million kickouts, crazy moves, flying all over the ring as well. Just so much emotion, and sending the fans home happy. It feels like, it was like the obvious one. I think we all went into this thinking, like, we know who's winning, but like, they still made me believe that the Usos could have gone out of there with the titles.
Yeah, they really did. And do you know what? I don't want to bring the show down, but the only thing that would have made this just feel a little bit more exciting was if we found out that the Street Profits winning that other tag match would have been going against Owens and Zayn straight after, or the opportunity for a contender. I thought, imagine that they're riding on that, and the Usos drop down a pecking order because there's someone else as a number one contender already, and then they've got a fight to struggle. Especially if Roman does retain tomorrow or tonight, or whatever you want to call it. Like, they've now got to prove themselves again. So oh man, I'm looking forward to it. It's like it's exciting where they can go now. With now they've lost titles. What happens to them in the Bloodline? They have to prove themselves. Are they worthy to be around Roman? Like, it's so good.
And even that, what happens, like you said, with the tag division as well? It's going to be interesting to see where we go forward with this. I really hope this isn't something they kind of sleep on now. I hope it's not just seen as a thrown together tag team, because I could buy them as a team because they've come into the business together and they've got such a storied history. So let's hope they kind of stick as a proper team for a bit.
If we can have the Rock and the Sock connection, if we can have Dude Love and Stone Cold, and at the moment we've got Ricochet
and Braun Strowman,
then and you're telling me that people won't accept Owens and Zayn, then my mind is blown. Because if anything, these are a tag team that just don't have. They're a tag
They
team.
feel
They're
like a team.
collective.
Yeah, they feel like
yeah.
a team either way.
They're like
It's
a collective.
it's like a natural thing brought together again because of their storied history and their past.
Exactly.
It makes sense. And now that, given the tag titles together, it was a crowning moment. I'm sure, personally speaking, it must have been amazing for all four of these guys. Again, talk about the Usos, people that have been overlooked, a division that's been overlooked, and now main event in WrestleMania, from kickoff shows to main events. And then we've got Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens, best friends who've kind of worked their way to the top of the card. And last year, Sami Zayn working in Knoxville. Again, a lot of people were like, "Oh, what's he like? That can't be good for his career." But he loved it. He kind of loved the opportunity, and look where it brought him. It just shows it's been a fantastic year. And Kevin Owens as well, signing on when everyone thought he wouldn't stay with WWE, and it's been a great ride for him as well. So I'm so pleased for all four of these guys, and I'm so excited to see where it goes next. Of course, we do have tomorrow night, or like you said, later tonight, because we're crawling up to 6 a.m. here in the UK. We'll be back for our next stream where we will have a build-up to night 2 of WrestleMania. Of course, 11 p.m. Still says GMT. I haven't changed that yet. It's supposed to say BST. We have changed the clocks here in the UK, but 3 p.m. PT and 6 p.m. ET as well. So stick with us on the Rebellious Noise Pro Wrestling channel. If you're here for the first time or your 749th time, we appreciate you either way. Please subscribe. We're on a road to 500 subscribers here, guys, and we'd love it if you would join our little gang here over on the Rebellious Noise Pro Wrestling channel. Anyway, I've been Scott. This one over here has been Rob. Before we get out of here, mate, is there anything else you want to mention?
No, I need to go to bed, man. My eyes are stinging. I need to sleep.
Me too. That's the biggest takeaway from the end of the stream, guys. Just know that British wrestling fans are die hard, man. We go through a lot.
We've done a build up, and now we've just done an instant reaction.
Oh,
so,
mate, and I did NXT like all day as well. So,
exactly.
My goodness. And on top of that, we've had an incredible week of content. If you haven't seen it yet, go back and check out Rob's Hall of Fame video and all the other videos that we've had on the channel throughout the week. And of course, we'll be here for night 2 and also be here for the Raw after Mania as well. I've been Scott. This one's been Rob, and we'll see you in the next one.
Welcome to the Rebellious Noise Pro Wrestling channel. On this channel, we bring you some great content from inside and outside of the squared circle. We will go through and offer some in-depth analysis of the biggest events of the year, as well as bringing you exclusive interviews with some of the industry's biggest names. There will also be live show reviews, in-depth features, and podcasts. So make sure you give that subscribe button a slam so you don't miss any of the action.